Dr. Kaysen says in order to prevent bacterial meningitis, it is critical to receive the meningitis vaccine. He says there's also another preventative measure. Washing your hands. The vehicles Opelika police use now have cameras in both the front and the back, and these new body cameras will add a third perspective. But law enforcement officials say when it comes to body cameras, it is all about perspective. The court says folks can also come in up until Labor Day to write a check for the cause. On your side in Opelika, Alex Derencz, WRBL News 3. Boom! 45 fifth graders at Morris Avenue Intermediate School are pedaling away today with bike tips from some of the very best in the business.
News 3's Alex Derencz is live in Auburn, where many people woke up to severe damage.
Teresa, I'm about 5'10", and the root of this tree is twice my height, and it was an EF0 tornado that took it down. Now, although there's a lot of damage, the good news is there are no injuries from last night's tornado. I spent most of the day shadowing emergency workers, and they say having a plan in place could be the difference between life and death. Mrs. Mitchell says her normal polling place is here at the Northside Baptist Church just up the street from her home, but her new polling location is here at Columbus Tech. The only problem is she says she wasn't notified of this change. Lee County Sheriff Jay Jones says while handcuffed, Shores managed to activate the door of a sheriff's vehicle like this one and escape on foot. And Sheriff Jones says this is something that rarely happens. Sergeant Brown says the easiest thing is buying blue police lights. So we did an internet search of buy blue police lights. We got more than 5 million hits. In the state of Alabama, having blue lights in a vehicle is a no-no. When kids get off the bus, the teachers and bus drivers make the kids stop, look both directions, and check for a bus driver's signal to make sure it's okay to cross the road. They also hope the drivers are looking out for kids as well. Refusing to give up these could force someone to lose this, and it could also mean losing a lot of this. So how do you feel knowing that you have an oxygen mask on a fire truck? Well, I think there's your answer. Reporting in Smith Station, I'm Alex Derencz, News 3 on your side. On this day, you won't find Jean Royer watching a Thanksgiving Day parade. Instead, you'll find her here at Valley Rescue Mission.
Is everything going okay down there? Need potatoes.
Serving up food for those in need. For her, it is a tradition.
About 30 years, the best I can count.
That's when Jean and her husband decided to throw on their aprons and help. How it happened is a story of its own.
We had 3 invitations to go with friends to have Thanksgiving dinner. And we couldn't decide who to go with. And I heard on the radio that they needed some volunteers down here. So I told my husband, I said, we can settle this if we go down to Valley Rescue and serve.
Her husband passed away 14 years ago, but she still comes and serves. Jean says she feels more blessed serving than those on the receiving end. At the head of the line, she takes her serving seriously, and other volunteers recognize it.
What are you doing on that side?
I know, I was there with you last time.
I know.
Once things have wrapped up at the Valley Rescue Mission, Jean gets to spend the day with her family. But in the meantime, serving others is a good feeling. She'll be back next year, but under one condition.
If I'm alive, I will. After 30 years. I can't tell my age on that TV. I just had a birthday.
On your side in Columbus, Alex Derencz, WRBL News 3. Their make and model may be different, but the spot where they sit is the same, the side of the road.
Mechanical breakdowns, a lot of times people, they break down and they just leave them for an extended period of time or just abandon them.
Sergeant Steve Jarrett of the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency says vehicles on the side of the road is a common problem but is closely monitored. State law says vehicles may be removed from the roadway if it is left unattended on a public street, road, or highway for at least 48 hours. Law enforcement says keeping the roads, especially interstates, clear of these vehicles is important since people drive at high speeds. If the vehicle is outside city limits, it's ALEA's responsibility to take care of the vehicle, but it can be tough to keep up with.
We have a very significant shortage of Alabama state troopers. You have less troopers patrolling, you have the troopers that are out there covering huge areas, and they may not see a abandoned vehicles in as timely of a manner as they would if we had adequate staffing.
Both Sergeant Jarrett and Lee County Sheriff Jay Jones say there are cases where the vehicles get vandalized prior to them being towed or picked up, but it's a risk the owner takes.
We try to work with people to best advantage. We certainly don't want to put them at a disadvantage financially, but then again, we do have the motoring public safety to consider.
Law enforcement officials say if they see a vehicle like this one abandoned on the side of the road, they'll take one of these tags, place it on the window to let the owner know the vehicle is being investigated and it could be towed in 5 days. They say in addition to posing a safety threat, these abandoned vehicles pose a visual threat.
It's just an eyesore. The public complains about it. People are traveling through Alabama. You know, we don't want our state highway system to be cluttered up with abandoned vehicles.
On your side in East Alabama, Alex Derencz, WRBL News 3. Meet Lila. She first came to Paul's in December of 2013 along with a litter of 9 puppies. All were adopted. She's been returned to Paul's 3 times, twice due to owners moving and once as a stray. 260 days in the shelter, waiting for the perfect home. Until James and Marilyn Connolly came to Paul's. He and Marilyn packed up their things in July and came down to Columbus. They had just enough gas money to get here. They had the money to pay rent, but not the deposits for a house.
We were sleeping in behind Stop Zone up on Victory Drive.
Intense.
It was very unreal, very scary.
Mm-hmm. And every time it rained, it was like we were sleeping on the Titanic.
But just like Lila, they kept the hope that they would find a home. In November, they did.
For her and I to be able to go off and go eat someplace together, instead of one of us stayed behind because where we were staying, there was heavy drug and beer usage. And anytime we took off, we didn't know if any of our stuff was going to get sold so they can get their drugs.
After getting the spoiling she deserves, the Connollys and Lila go home together, sharing a piece of their past.
If anyone's ever been homeless, everybody turns their back. I mean, you've been abandoned. Given a chance to have a roof over your head to call home, a place to sleep securely, having meals instead of wondering where your next meal comes from. It's a member of the family, not just a dog.
When some folks drive down India Road in Opelika, they see this, a field with trees and overgrown grass. Kyle Grady drove past this same field and thought the same thing until he took a closer look and found these 2 gravestones.
They've got the same last name, so they're husband and wife. And this one's from 1926. The date on this one's not visible.
As Kyle went deeper into the lot, he learned that more folks were buried here. The property is a historic African-American cemetery named Ross Cemetery. Most of the graves are unmarked, but visible to the eye are graves of World War I and II veterans.
It's sad to know that their graves are becoming overgrown and no one can even tell that they're buried here. Served in the trenches of World War I, and now they're essentially just lost in this undergrowth.
Kyle wants to remove that undergrowth, install a chain link fence, and make a gravel trail that leads to the back of the cemetery. This is his Eagle Scout project. He started a Kickstarter campaign to raise money for the project. He says the donations have been overwhelming, putting him halfway to his goal. Kyle says taking on this project is a big responsibility, but he says the end results will be well worth it.
It'll be nice knowing that I've done something and being able to see the fruits of all the people that have helped out with the fruits of their labors.
And honoring those who paid the ultimate price. On your side in Opelika, Alex Derencz, WRBL News 3. This is a home in the 2900 block of Casita Road Monday night. 2 men were shot in the front yard of the house, one in the back of the left thigh and left calf, the other in the back of the left thigh too. Fast forward to Tuesday morning around 11:30. Same house, but 1 man shot in the stomach who later died at the hospital. That man was 30-year-old Marcus Bowden, who lived in the home. Linda Williams is a family friend. She says Bowden was a loving and respectful man. She was on her way back from taking care of personal matters and saw the scene.
It's devastating. I mean, it's sad out here that you can't even go out your door. People that you think that you know, that you can trust, and it is just so much violence here in Columbus, Georgia. It's just terrible.
Albert Price has lived in the neighborhood for 35 years. He says if he hadn't fought in Vietnam, he would be scared of the neighborhood. But 2 shootings in less than 24 hours?
It scares you. Everybody's thinking about terrorists, but terrorists right here on this corner. And What I can't understand is the police know about this corner, but yet and still this corner been here, and it's still here, and it's going to be here tomorrow. And the same thing is going to be going on.
Reverend Willie Phillips has been an advocate for cleaning up the neighborhood. He says there is a big drug problem in the neighborhood. He's talked to the mayor and police chief about the issues and feels that police could do more. He believes there is a turf war in the area.
As I repeat again, I think there's a turf war going on, and we need the police presence even heavier in this area. Not just in this area, but the whole area. You can walk down in the street and see gangs walking down the streets.
On your side, Alex Derencz, WRBL News 3.
We spoke with Columbus Police just a short time ago. They said detectives will be back out tomorrow.
Hannah! For almost 40 years, Price's Barbecue has called out orders to its customers. Not much has changed over that time. The biscuits are still made from scratch. The barbecue is made the old-fashioned way in their hickory pit. The grits are always piping hot. The stirrer of those grits and owner of the restaurant, Jeff Price, says after 38 years, it's time to slow down.
It's kind of bittersweet because, you know, we're kind of going away, and I just feel like I've taken a little something from, you know, from Auburn people who, you know, have, you know, find the barbecue house to be special.
One of those people is John McCollum Sr. He tries to make it to the restaurant once a week. For him, the restaurant was the cream to his coffee.
All these students in here, and I guess it makes me feel younger.
For John Hall and his mother Babs, the restaurant was a part of their family for years.
We always got into Auburn and came to Barbecue House. We always, you know, for a tailgate, we think, okay, we need to go pick up our, you know, our barbecue. We need to figure out, you know, so it was really a meeting point. It was a lot more than just the food in the restaurant.
This used to be the perch of the famous Barbecue House pig, also known as Victor E. Pig. A lot of people would come and take pictures with him. Recently, instead of taking pictures with Victor, some people tried to take Victor.
I was just really upset because now that is, I don't know that we'll get it back before the end of May, and that's been kind of taken from everybody, and I'm sure it was a prank. It was, you know, somebody really didn't think about what they were doing.
But Price says they're not focused on that. All they are focused on is providing the same service to those who kept the restaurant in business for 38 years, the people.
We love Auburn people. And it's been a great ride.
On your side in Auburn, Alex Derencz, WRBL News 3.